Peace be unto you. That's right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, network of spiritual progressives. Good morning, isn't it? Come on now. Man, this is not a memorial. This is a celebration. And we got to have some heart and some feeling in this place, right? That's what we got to have, because that's what it's going to take in order for us to put forth the spiritual and moral energy to help this country go to a path based on generosity, inclusion, and love. It's going to take that kind of spirit. What I want to do is talk about two things, and I don't want to go over my time, so I'm going to try to make my points quickly. The two things I want to talk to you about is where I think we are and where I think we should go. Here's where I think we are. Where we are is a year plus outside of overcoming a presidency that was marked by an economic system that rewarded the rich and punished the poor, that took away the rules that were required to restrain runaway capitalism. Where we are is a year beyond overcoming a pugnacious, assertive, even imperialistic administration that believed that its ability to impose its will through military domination was its moral right. Where we are is a year beyond this sort of mindset that is characterized by fear, by acquisitiveness, and even greed. And where we are is having a decade full of evidence where those things will land you. Where we are is a year plus beyond a period of time in which Americans said, you know, we've seen what military domination and the will to dominate will get you. Countless Iraqis dead, nearly 5,000 Americans dead, $1 trillion of American money spent, countless diplomatic bridges broken. We've seen deregulating Wall Street, non-regulation of Wall Street landed us in a financial catastrophe in September 2008, which this country is still trying to inch its way back from. We've seen these things. Where we are is a year plus beyond that when, without regard to the president, Americans came together behind a set of ideas which were marked by diplomacy over military domination, economic responsibility, environmental stewardship. Regardless as to whether how you think the president is doing, he was able to be successful in his election because he set forth a set of ideas that were in stark rejection of what we saw before. So that's what happened. That's where I think we are. Where we are is a year plus beyond that. Now, we also are in a place as part of a progressive movement where we're a year plus since that time that we came together and lined up behind these set of human and natural enhancing ideas. And I think that our progressive movement has hit a point where I humbly submit to you, we need to really gain a measure of clarity. I think we need to gain a measure of clarity because I submit to you that the measuring stick for how we're doing or how this country's doing or how this world's doing is not how Obama is doing. The measuring stick is whether or not we have aligned our ideals of generosity, inclusion, and love with our actions. That's a measuring stick. And the president's not on the top of that. He's a part of our struggle to align our conduct with these ideals. So he should not be the focus of our attention or the focus of our derision or the focus of our adulation. Do you understand what I'm saying? He should be one player in a team designed to create a society based on generosity, inclusion, and love. That's where it should be. So this is what we do. We don't spend all our time beating them up or beating them down or clapping for them or clapping against them. We spend our time building grassroots solutions that push a way forward which he has to conform to, which he has to get in line with. But we never make it personal on him, and because it's not basically up to him. When we had a movement that was about civil and human rights and dignity, and that movement was strong, and that movement was moving forward, even a Republican president like Richard Nixon had to sign civil rights legislation, environmental protection legislation, and things like that. He had to, because if he had to get up there and talk about empowerment. He had to. Did he believe it? Clearly not. But he had to do it. What could you and I do with a president whose heart is in the right place, but who feels so entangled by divergent forces pulling him in which direction, some of which we know are pernicious and bad, right? But what could we do if we created this wave and we had a president who wanted to do the right thing and whose instincts were in the right thing, but who had bonds on him from the Wall Street types and the militarist types, and he kind of wasn't clear. He was sort of created sort of a split the baby type governing philosophy. Do you understand what I mean? So I share this with you in terms of talking about where we are. Where I think we should go, and what I'm going to talk a lot about foreign policy for a moment, but all these things apply for our domestic policy as well, is where I think we should go is that I think that in our conventional conversation, we acknowledge that we depend too much on military for foreign policy solutions, even though we know the merits and necessity of understanding that America has to be a country where security is important. None of us can say security is not important. We need to define what security is and how do we actually secure our country. No security policy position can be premised on military might. It can't happen. It doesn't work like that. The way it works is that we are a country, again, guided by ideas of equity, generosity, and engagement in our relations with other nations. And those philosophical ideas create safe borders rather than armed ones. This is, and God willing, one day the border will become an irrelevancy. You know, the fact is, it's time for us to answer a critical question, and that is, how are we going to shape a progressive foreign policy agenda that provides a platform for the U.S. government in the 21st century? It simply is not enough to critique what others have failed to do properly. We have to envision a progressive philosophy of interacting with the world. And I submit to you that we should envision a philosophy based on equity, generosity, and engagement. Let me tell you what I mean by equity. Equity. Our commitment to equity means that we, as progressives, have never accepted the notion that it is okay for the powerful to simply wield power without regard to the needs of other people. As progressives, we acknowledge that we're stewards for each other and future generations. This is why I've introduced and co-sponsored legislation at both the micro and macro levels that underscores the need for social and environmental responsibility. I don't want to go all through all these bills I've supported. Who really cares what bills I supported, right? But there is one bill that I do need you to know that I have been fighting for, and that is a bill for the Global Marshall Plan.
Amen.
Now, a bill for a Global Marshall Plan is about equity. Equity, how so? Equity in meaning that when we engage with another country or another region of the world, that we're not looking simply to how to get the most and give the least, right? How to get their sugar, how to get their oil, how to get their uranium, how to get their stuff and give them nothing, or give the elites of that country a little bit so that they can keep the others in line. How can we break away from, how can we have a policy based on equity? Some of us in the progressive movement, the hair on the back of our neck bristles when we talk about trade. But you and I know there's nothing wrong with trade in and of itself. Something's wrong, however, when we have the attitude that my oil is under your sand. And so I'm going to get it from you, and I'm willing to end your life to do it and ruin your society to do it. Equity. The idea that we should trade value, things we need for things they need, of value. This the American people will benefit from. Halliburton may not benefit from it. They may not like it. British Petroleum may not like it. You know, Lockheed Martin may not like it. A lot of people may not like it, but you will like it because you will get things you need, and other people around the world will get things they need.